20. Who would ever put 20 args in? I have no idea, but we'll probably never get past 2 or 3. Probably a little more when we do lab 7, but not very much more. Even when we did the GCC with the -O, we had 5. That was a long command for us. Okay. So we have a max path length of 50. Paths can get a lot bigger than that, but so far 50 has been enough for every student to run. Okay? And we have a defined true as 1. So then we have some function prototypes. Process input is commented out because we are not using it for lab 6. Parse line is here. You'll have to call that function and you need it. Void handle reader, that's part of lab 7. So it's commented out. All right, so we go down. The main program starts here and all my comment lines are wrapping around, so it looks kind of crazy. But here's int main void, and we have a command line for max line, and we have argv, and we have argc, and we have status, and we have a PID that we won't need till lab 7. And we're going to loop forever to wait and process commands. So we say while true, open the brace, print your shell name as the prompt. So you got to fill this in with the shell name. Now, when we did this last year, we got Csc60 mshell.c as the file. I want to tell you that after a little while, I got really sick and tired of typing that in. So I typed it once here, helps the system people know who's working, and I called it lab6.c. Okay? All right, then we have read the command line. That line is all filled in. Beneath that, we have call parse line. There is no code there. You got to fill the call in. You've got the prototype, you've got the function, you should be able to figure out how to call it. All right, a reminder that if the user hits the enter key without a command, you got to loop again, and all you have to do is say, if argc is 0, do a continue. That's all you need to do. And it makes you go fall down to the end of that big while loop and come back up to the top and reprint the prompt. Then right in here, handle the built-in commands of exit, pwd, or cd. Right here is where you have to put your code for those commands. And the pseudocode for that is in the directions. All right, what is right below that? A big ignore comment. Don't mess with anything below there. When we get to lab 7, we'll make that line go away and we'll remove this comments and you'll have everything that you need. This is actually a wraparound here from the line above. So lots of comments. There's the end of the while loop, while true, and down here is the end of main. Voice of experience here. Little comments on closing braces that are not 4 lines above. These things are incredibly helpful to whoever follows you to maintain your code. When I had to maintain the code for that dude that didn't believe in functions, I told you about that, didn't I? Yeah. That's how I survived, is I commented all those braces. This is the end of the while true. This is the end of the for loop for j equals to less than. All the way through, I did that. And then I could cope, sort of mostly. Every time I had to deal with it, I felt totally scuzzy, but I got it done. And that was the prime thing. In the least amount of time that that I could do because they weren't willing to let me rewrite it. So when it's not too many lines, this kind of becomes redundant. But when things start to stretch out, it's incredibly helpful. All right, then we have parse line. There's the function. It uses a string function that we didn't talk about, which is string token, which breaks things down and it looks for separators in the command line. So spaces, that's the separators are right here. A space or a new line or a tab. And you look for those separators with the string token. So you pass into string token the command line and the separators, and it breaks things apart into pieces for you. Okay, and when it's done, it returns a count, and that becomes your arg count. Okay, next we have process input, which is all commented out. That's a lab 7 thing where we'll have to insert code to handle redirection. And we'll have to issue an exec call. Okay? And down here is where handle reader will eventually go, but not now. So the code that you have to do is all above this wonderful ignore line. That's it. Okay? Don't mess with all the rest of it that's down below that. And then you'll be all set up for lab 7. All right, so we've gone through the code. We've done the slides. We haven't looked at all the directions yet. We have pretty explicit pseudocode here to help you get these commands done. And that's what you have to do. All right, we have a chart here with some of the system calls we need. They're mentioned here. They're more elaborated in the lab 6 slides that we looked at. They're also in your book. All right, then we have the C library functions, and the one that you're going to have to use for lab 6 is the string compare. So notice what's right below that. You have to do a string compare of argv0 with cd. And then you do a compare equals to 0. They'll match, it'll return a 0. If they don't match, you'll go to the next thing. Okay? For errors right now, you could use a printf, and that's what the f gets s requires. So we can just compile this like any old program. You have an a dot out. The command is repeated here if you want to do something different than a dot out. Lab 6, 7, and 8 may be worked on as a team of 2 people. The 6 is pretty easy, but you can still work on it as a team and continue into 7 and continue into 8. This is what I ask that you do. Every file that you give me has both names in it. Both of you are going to upload the files to Csc60. What will really happen is, the files come up to me in Csc60 when I'm grading in the order of when they were submitted. So whichever one of you submits first, I'm going to find you first, and I'm going to see 2 names up there at the top, and I'm going to go, oh, okay, I'm going to grade this, and then I'm going to go find the other person and give them the same grade. But I don't know which of you I'm going to find first. So I want you to both submit 2 files, the C file and a script file. In the script file, you will not reprint the code. You will only execute and show me your execution. There's directions on here about that. So if there's a partnership, both names on everything, and you both submit both files. Okay. Oh, down here. If you make some huge changes, which is not likely in lab 6, but maybe in lab 7, you might want to keep versions. So if you totally screw it up, you can go back to what you had before. Lab 6 is worth 25 points. What are you going to deliver? lab6.c and a script file. And in your script file, you must have at least the enter key, a space and the enter key, a PWD, a CD, ... a CD, and an exit. Now, if you'd like to type PDs in between there, that's fine. You just have that much. And I prefer it was in the order that it's here because it makes it very much easier for me to go through it. Okay, and the script file will not contain the contents of lab6.c. All right, because you're going to submit 2 files, lab6.c and the script file that shows the execution of the program. And that's the end of the directions. There isn't any more. That's it. So you look sort of shell-shocked, a few of you. A few of you look like, oh, this isn't going to be very hard. Little smirks on your faces, and that's okay. Any questions? Somebody in one of the other classes came up to me and said, when you do the built-in commands with the if, else if, is it okay if I use a switch? Yeah, it would be okay if you used a switch. That's about the only question I've had. And like I said, it's about 25 lines of code, and the pseudocode is pretty explicit. So you should be able to do okay. If you can't make my office hours, they're at 10 o'clock, 5 days a week. Send me the C code file and tell me what your problem is, and I'll help you via email. Okay? You got any of you got a person in mind for a team? Yeah, right there, those two. Anybody else? You'll have to talk to each other and find out if you want to be a team or not. 2 more, okay? There will be some more code in lab 7. And then in lab 8, I don't know how many lines it will be. I haven't put that all together yet. But I want you to get this done in a hurry, which is why I'm giving you a week and a half. I give you a weekend. Most of the midterms are finished. Probably somebody's still giving one somewhere, but any of you have midterms coming up? Good. Okay, nobody's hand went up. No questions? Not yet. Huh? Gotta play with it first. Okay. So I think I've given you enough to make those of you that have never done systems programming before be